You know, we've had a chance on the sports news here to talk about one of the faster growing sports in Wisconsin a few times, and I always love when we get a chance to talk a little lacrosse. And right now we get to bring in Tim Leung, who is with the Wisconsin Lacrosse Officials Association, and also MELA, the Madison Area Lacrosse Association. And Tim, if you could, talk to us a little bit about your role in lacrosse in the area.
Well, Rich, my role with lacrosse in the area, right now I do a lot of helping out. I'm an official, so I get to referee a lot of the games, both in the high school levels and the youth levels here in Madison, not just Madison, but across the state of Wisconsin. But also with MELA, the Madison Area Lacrosse Association, I do help their board of directors out with doing some website stuff. That's madlax.org if you want to go and check that out.
You know, I mentioned the growth of the sport, and it's really something that, you know, caught on big time on the East Coast and now seems to be shifting as we go across the country here. If you could talk about the growth of the sport specifically in Wisconsin.
So I would say in the last 10 years or so, I've been involved in the last 6, but certainly in the last 10 years, this sport has grown quite a bit. You're right, absolutely, it started out on the East Coast, but as we get people coming from the East Coast, a lot of parents pass the sport on to their kids, the kids pass their sport on to their friends, and we have a lot of opportunities for teams. And it's really kind of interesting because the teams, some of the teams and some of the games and some of the number of players kind of creates this opportunity for more parents and more adults to get involved. And what we really want to try to do is we want to try to get more adults involved, adults and high school kids, either as officials, which I certainly represent, but also as parents to do coaching as well. So it's really tough if you have 20 kids who want to play the game but don't have any adult supervision, don't have any coaches who can go with that, or if they don't have any officials who can officiate the sport either.
Well, if you could talk about some of the ways that people can get involved, because I think sometimes they just don't know where to start. Like, how do I get involved in this sport that hasn't been traditionally popular sport but has been growing a lot? Where do they start, Tim?
So you can start by checking us out at madlax.org, but you can start with whatever you enjoy. So maybe you have a child who likes to start playing. You can come on as an assistant coach, and it doesn't mean you need to know everything about the sport. You can be there and you can just learn under a head coach who has been with the sport for a while. Nowadays versus when I started doing lacrosse, which is back in the mid-90s, there's so much more with the internet and with YouTube. You can watch lacrosse games online just about, well, pretty much at any time. You can look at how coaches and officials do things. So from a coaching standpoint, it's really easy to get started. From an official standpoint, we certainly encourage you to get in touch with one of us to do officials, to be an official as well. We have boys games and girls games in the area. We're an equal opportunity employer. We do have men doing the girls games. We do have women doing the boys games as well. It's important that you're willing to learn about the sport. There's no need to know about the sport before you get started. Just learning about the sport, being ready to learn, being willing to hustle. You don't have to be, you know, the Flash or Supergirl or anything on the field, but it's important to hustle and get yourself in position to make the right calls.
Check out the contact info on the bottom third. It's going along right along there. Tim, great job. Thanks for being on the Sports News.
No, thanks for having us, Rich.
A special thank you to Conan Automotive in Stoughton for supporting local athletics.